Following Donald Trump's announcement that the US military would no longer accept trans people to serve in the armed forces, a lot of service members have been clapping back. One such individual is Kristin Beck. Kristin Beck is not just your average service member. Born Christopher Beck, she served for 20 years in the Navy with SEAL Teams 1, 5, and eventually the Elite 6. She deployed 13 times over 2 decades, including stints in Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. She received the Bronze Star Award for Valor and the Purple Heart for wounds suffered in combat. If you don't believe me that she's this much of a badass, there is actually a really excellent documentary by CNN Films called Lady Valor. Let's take a look at Kristin Beck.
I am Senior Chief Chris Beck, currently in Afghanistan.
Christopher Beck served this country with great strength and great honor for 20 years.
He was a member of a special counterterrorism unit called SEAL Team 6.
He became an elite Navy SEAL, and all the time carrying a burden that finally led him to make a drastic decision.
No one ever met the real me. No one knew anything.
Chris Beck details his transformation to become Kristin Beck.
In some ways, this is way more mentally and physically rigorous than many things I've done in my past. We're Americans, and we are part of our country. It's another mission, and now I'm starting over.
It was a shock.
I had no clue. We were brothers, but I never saw a girly in him.
I like your outfit.
I think I got this out from you. This is like my new armor.
I'm here for any team guy or team girl.
Someone who wants to change their gender, it just doesn't seem to fit in with that lifestyle.
This is how you fight. This is how you shoot your weapons.
The real Kristin Beck.
I was beyond proud.
I fought for 20 years for life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. And I want some happiness. This is my life.
Wow, yeah. So Kristin Beck has a message for Donald Trump, which is basically, let's meet face to face. Kristin spoke out saying, let's meet face to face and you tell me I'm not worthy. Transgender doesn't matter, do your service. Going on to say, being transgender doesn't affect anyone else. We are liberty's light. If you can't defend that for everyone, that's an American citizen. That's not right. And then going on to address Donald Trump's point about the money issue, that this is part of the budget. This isn't him being discriminatory. This is about making cuts for the military to serve its best. She says the money is negligible. You're talking about 0.0001% of the military budget. So she's not mincing her words. I want to get a reaction from you guys, and there are other trans service members that are speaking up, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But first, after having watched that, just such a badass story, you can find, I believe, the full documentary on Netflix. I would recommend checking it out. What is your response? Do you think that this is okay that she's speaking out?
Oh, do I think it's okay? I love it. And honestly,
awesome.
I didn't know anything about her until this terrible story broke today with what Trump is trying to do. And I read what she had to say, and I hadn't seen that video. And watching that video gave me goosebumps. And just seeing how heroic she is, and the fact that she served in the military for such a long time, 2 decades. And then, her statement about fighting for, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and how she wants happiness. She is beyond entitled to that happiness. I'm just proud that she's an American, and she shouldn't face any type of persecution or discrimination. And it's sick that our commander-in-chief doesn't respect her.
So you can check out the trailer again in the link below that we'll have. CNN Films, great job there on that one. So she said, we are liberty's light. And she put her life on the line how many times to prove that out? And if she hasn't earned her freedom, who has? I mean, if you say to her, fight for our freedoms, but not your own.
Right.
That is a preposterous statement. And of all people, for Donald Trump to say this, he ran from service. He did 5 deferments in Vietnam. Now, some of it was because of school. Some people were legitimately in school, and he was of the age where he could be in school, and his daddy got him into Penn, which he now brags about. I'd love to see your transcript, by the way. Anyway, then he was out of school, and his dad got a doctor to write a letter about how he had bone spur in one of his feet. And then in the campaign trail, they asked him about it. He's like, I don't remember which foot.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so devastating that you had other people go die for you in Vietnam. But apparently it was so unimportant, you don't even remember which foot it was. You know why? Because you made it up. Because you're a rich jackass who inherited $200 million from your dad and then bragged about it for the rest of your life. You didn't go serve. Now these people want to serve. They want to be liberty's light, and you won't let them. So just quick suggestion for them, stand a post.
Yeah, well, what we're hearing from a lot of these transgender service members that are speaking up, that are so appalled by this from our commander in chief, is that they fight for individual liberty. It's what this country is founded on. It's not it's a bipartisan liberty that we all have a right to. And another retired Sergeant Shane Ortega, a transgendered man who served as helicopter crew chief in the Army's 25th Infantry Division, has been through 3 combat tours, also spoke out, speaking with Raw Story. This is a completely egotistical move on behalf of Donald Trump. I think he's honestly trying to circle the American people to deflect and detract the principles and goodwill of what it is to be an American service member. And he's trying to use them as pawns right now in order to invoke some sort of emotional reaction from the public to circumvent his own investigations that are going right now towards his impeachment. So what is your response to that?
Yeah, nailed it.
You think this is just a distraction?
I think it's it's a distraction, especially when you consider that this wasn't something that was in the works. He didn't have any communication with the Pentagon about this. The Pentagon was completely like, surprised by it.
It was so out of the blue. I couldn't believe when I saw this rolling in on my Twitter feed. I wasn't sure of what I was seeing, because you kind of see it trending before you go to the source a little bit. You see people tweeting about it, then you go back to the source material. It really did feel out of the blue, Anna. It was sort of, where is this coming from? It's in that sense. I do sort of wonder, is this a distraction? What am I now? All my attention is on this, where it was before we were talking about the investigation, we're talking about collusion.
Right, well, we should focus on all of it. And I think most Americans are smart enough to know what's going on, and they're aware of what he's trying to do. And I always like to look at the time that he tweets, and they're always super early in the morning, or in the 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. In this case, they were 5 in the morning tweets. And when I woke up in the morning, I get Apple News alerts, pick up my phone, and I read what Trump is doing, and I'm like, well, another day in America.
Yeah, you're always braced for impact, damage report.
Yeah.
What did he do today?
Yeah.
But in this case, it's I like how you're like really considering the other side, Grace. You're giving the benefit of that. No, the Pentagon was caught off guard. They're like, we have no policy on that. We have to change our policy. I don't know what he just did. So of course it's a political distraction. But anyway, he can live up to it. Now he's too late for Vietnam. Other people died, and he bragged. By the way, you should know this is amazing. For all you guys who think he's for veterans, first of all, he just now spoke out against all these brave veterans. Beck also has a Purple Heart for getting wounded in combat and Bronze Star Award for valor. So. Gee, I wonder who's more patriotic, more American, and more for service. But now it's too late. The thing you should know, he said that he didn't go to Vietnam, but avoiding STDs in the sex parties he was going to was his own personal Vietnam. That's who Donald Trump is.
Wow.
So listen, if you're ever going to try to kick someone out of the military, have your kids stand a post. Have all your Republican politicians voting with you, stand a post. So Don Jr., Eric, you're sitting around doing nothing but getting yourself in trouble. Go and stand a post, fill in for those trans service members you're trying to kick out. If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.